What's up? It's time for a new tier list. My last tier list was pretty fast after the patch, so there's a lot of things that have changed, a lot of opinions I've changed. You know, that was like kind of how I was thinking the meta's gonna go to, and certain things have surprised me as well with how bad they're performing on this new map. But yeah, now that we've figured out the meta a bit more, and also we have this guy released right here, Dodrio, I thought it's time for a new tier list. So again, we have it split up in a lane and jungle tier list. So first we start with laning. This just means that if you pick a Pokemon, you know, going towards top path or bottom path, how I think they will perform through the entire match. Are they going to be used for late game? How's the early game? Everything together in one. So let's just start. Absol, I think, is very good on this map in lane as well. Solid 8 here. Nothing I need to, you know, totally fine to pick. You can play Pursuit, Night Slash, and it stays very good laning phase on top or bottom. Doesn't matter which lane. Blastoise has dropped off a bit. Gonna put him into B+ tier. Again, just defenders on this map in general don't feel too strong. It's quite weird, but yeah. Defenders do feel a bit weak. I do like still Blastoise and Rapid Spin. I still think it can be quite powerful too, but I'm still gonna drop it down by a tier. Blissey, I'm gonna put into, yes, you know what, I'm gonna put, it just doesn't fit this map quite well, right? Blissey, I think, is still absolutely insane of a Pokemon, but on this map it can be quite difficult for Blissey to have impact, because there's so much running around the map and fighting into certain positions that can struggle. Buzzwole, terrible Pokemon. Go straight into C tier. Yeah, it needs still a lot of buffs for it to be considered any useful. Charizard, I actually think Charizard I'm gonna put up a bit. In our laning, he doesn't feel too bad on this map in general, and he's just very good on this map, doesn't matter what. Even when picked in laning phase, of course you can struggle a bit, but there's a lot of experience, a lot of wild Pokemon, and you can farm your Unite move always quite fast as well. Then we have Cinderace. Cinderace on this map is already terrible, and then picking Cinderace in lane should be a crime. Then we have Cramorant, which I think is very solid on this map, or in general, right? Still very strong Pokemon, also for laning phase. This Pokemon is super, super good. Then we have Crustle, which I think has fallen off a tiny bit, just because Crit also got nerfed, right? I think my X-Scissor Crit build is still very fun, but it doesn't really have the impact it has on this map than on the old one as well. Then we have Dodrio, which struggles similar to the other Pokemon in laning phase. He can jungle on this map, but laning phase is very weak. And all these like non-mobile mages, I even consider him like a non-mobile mage, right? Similar to Ninetales, Pikachu, you know, those kind of things. He doesn't really have anything going on for him, so he's kind of a sitting duck on this map. So yeah, not the biggest fan. I think Deathfox is quite good on this map. You can even play Flame Charge in lane. I think that totally works as well. And yeah, very strong Pokemon still. Drylodon, I think, is a solid B+ in lane. I don't like Flash Count on this map, and in general I think he doesn't perform too well when it comes to laning phase. His jungling is very strong as well, but again, we're heading towards that later. Eldegoss, I think, is a good Pokemon. I know I always get hate for putting Eldegoss high, but I think Eldegoss is so underestimated by a lot of players. Espeon, what I just said about Decidueye, Espeon falls in the same problem. It doesn't really have much mobility going on, and it can't really move on the map too cleanly. It has a very difficult time standing up for itself. With someone like Charizard and Drylodon, they're still pretty good on their own right. Even though they also don't really have good mobility. Charizard does have with Flamethrower. Drylodon has Dragon Tail as well, but they just stand much better on their own compared to someone like Espeon. Garchomp on this map is actually quite fine. Gonna put into B+ tier as well. Again, B+ doesn't mean it's bad. B+ is, I would say, the average. That's how I think. Like, these Pokemon are all playable from B+ to S. Are pretty good. I mean, B is also playable, but of course they have just a bit more, you know, strengths over these Pokemon when it comes to the game. Gardevoir, when I just mentioned Espeon, I really don't understand when someone picks Gardevoir in lane, I'm just like, do you just enjoy not having fun? I guess they do, because they never do anything. Any lane Gardevoir on this map is just makes it a 4v5, what it feels like. Aegislash, a very good Pokemon. A+ tier deserving. Gengar, I think, just is very good on this map and in solo queue, so you can even pick him in laning phase quite easily. Top or bot lane, both is totally fine. There's a lot of safe experiences where you can farm, and then he can take over games eventually. Glacier in laning phase is alright. Again, it's very OP jungler. Laning can be a bit rough. It's the worst EV out of all the EVs, so getting early last hits can be quite rough, but it's just very strong Pokemon, right? It's just so easy to play. Both abilities, Ice Take a Spear, Icy Wind, are point and click, and it really doesn't take much for you to get value out of those. Greedent, I think, is a solid A on this map as well. I'm not sure, maybe A+ or A, but yeah. He is still one of the... Actually, I think he's A+. He's just such a strong Pokemon. Doesn't matter what, he's so annoying to deal with. There's a lot of invading on this map as well, right? There's a lot of scoring on this map, so he's perfect for it. Greninja, similar to these others, I just don't want to see in lane my teammates play. Hooper knows an interesting thing. Hooper currently has the lowest win rate in the entire game, but I still don't think it's that bad, right? So I'm going to put into B+. I think Hooper can still get a lot of value. Might want to play Trick again. But I do think the Unite move can get a lot of value late game as well still, if you have your teammates positioned well for backcaps and then porting them to something else. I still think this Pokemon can get value. Okari goes back into A+ tier, where he was also where I put him last tier list, similar to Machamp. S tier is currently reserved for Mew and Mewtwo, the double M, the M1M. Yeah, these Pokemon are absolutely busted and they deserve to be, maybe they deserve even a tier above S, S+ tier or God tier, but S tier is currently reserved for these two. Absolutely broken. These Pokemon are a pain to play against for any laner. Mamoswine is actually doing very well on this map. I'm quite surprised by it. He is one of the highest win rate defenders and seeing a lot of more play on this map, and he's performing quite well. Not sure what that really has to do with it. I'm thinking about it still, but I can't really understand. But yeah, I've played it myself and just he's pretty good on this map, so I'm bumping him up to 8 here among the highest defenders now. Finally, he's making it. Ninetales is dreadful to play on this map. I had zero fun playing. I tried one Ninetales game and it did not feel fun at all. Like, it feels very difficult to play on this map. Similar again, Espeon, Gardevoir. These Pokemon just have such a hard time. Similar to Pikachu, but I still think Pikachu just has a bit more value thanks to Volt Tackle, running around. I think even my Floatstone build wasn't even a joke. Like, I think Floatstone Pikachu and just run around the map and Volt Tackle people can actually be a viable playstyle. As weird as it sounds, but yeah, Ninetales I don't like on this map at all. Slowbro has fallen off a lot as well. Gonna put down here. I mean, the meta is very special attack heavy. We have Mew, Mewtwo, Glaceon on almost every game, right? So Sky doesn't really do much. You just kinda die. And winning your laning phase really hard doesn't matter. Like on the old map, you could just bully people out of lane. But laning phase on this map doesn't really exist anymore too much, right? Like, it's very fast over, and people just scatter all across the map to certain destinations, and then that's why tanks just kind of feel a bit weird. Except for this one, Slowbro, Snorlax. Snorlax actually feels pretty decent on this map. He can just defend golds. You can just have him stand on golds and be happy. He's not someone that needs experience. Someone like Slowbro needs much more experience than a Slowbro. A Slowbro needs much more experience than a Snorlax. As long as he gets heavy impact and block, he's happy. And he's also someone that can maybe invade the enemy team quite easily. Azumarill, I think, is decent on this map. In general, just about average Pokemon, I would say. Still lingering at the bottom of the win rates, but I honestly like this Pokemon. I think it shows a lot of potential. We have a Dragonite in laning phase. It's just miserable. I don't know. I mean, I think it's fine on this map, since again, if you play like a scoring bit in lane, I think it can be actually quite fine. So I'm gonna actually bump him up above these Pokemon, because I think he still gets more value on this map than these. Sylveon, still one of the best lane attackers you can pick. I would say it's at the bottom of A+ to upper A. So yeah, very strong Pokemon for laning phase. I'm actually going to put it into A+ here, I think, if you want to pick a lane assassin or lane attacker. Sylveon still does very good, is very good at clearing camps, is very good at just killing stuff. So yeah, Talonflame, actually quite good on this map in lane as well. This map is just made for Talonflame, I swear. This map is just made for Talonflames. Just fly around, be annoying, score goals left and right, and yeah. Again, laning phase ends also quite fast, so he's not stuck in laning phase until the end of the game. And all these Pokemon also just are much luckier now, because Dreadnought doesn't exist anymore. Because if you had bad early game on the old map, the enemy snowballed so hard thanks to getting first Dreadnought, that was very hard at some point to do something, right? And then if you were not ready for the Rayquaza fight, or Zapdos fight, you were struggling quite hard, but it has changed by so much. Trevenant, gonna put him to 8 here, moving him down a bit. Again, struggles just like other defenders a tiny bit. Serena, still very strong Pokemon, easily A+. Tyranitar, I think, does work on this map as a laner as well. Again, a lot of more laning, a lot of more wild Pokemon to just get to late game with. If this Pokemon gets to level 13, 14, 15, it's still just unkillable. This Pokemon is ridiculously strong. So yeah. Venusaur, for some reason, just feels awful on this map as well. When it comes to laning. I feel like Petitance Gear Drain, I haven't seen anyone have any success with that. Solar Beam in laning phase is similar to the other ones as well, like Ninetales, Espeon, Gardevoir. It struggles quite hard. I made it work in jungle because jungling is just overpowered, which means I'm higher level. I get to my power spikes much faster. I had blue buff, so I have much more value as a jungler than in laning phase. I think laning phase Venusaur is quite weak on this map. Wigglytuff, I think is alright. Gonna put into B+ tier, and Zeraora, I still don't really like too much. And now for the last one, we have Dodrio. So where am I putting Dodrio? I have to actually have it right here. It wasn't in the tier list yet. Where do we put Dodrio? I think, honestly, this Pokemon has potential, and I'm putting it to B+ for now. I think this Pokemon is just very difficult to play, and it needs time to understand how this Pokemon works and how to figure out the playstyle. But I think as long as the game goes on, I think Dodrio will find more and more success. And I do think it's actually quite solid. Again, it fits the map as well. Running around, scoring, skirmishing a lot, right? Yeah, very good. So this is my lane tier list. Let me know what you think about this. And then let me just put him back down here. Actually, you know, leave it up for a few seconds. Let me see if I want to make any changes before we head to the jungle tier list. But I do think this looks quite fine. There's might be some things like Ninetales and Slowbro and Venusaur, which maybe should be higher. Maybe these ones should be lower. But I do think I'm quite happy with this tier list for now. Looks quite reasonable. Alright, now we head into the jungle tier list, which I think is going to be quite difficult, because there's a lot of very strong junglers on this patch, just because jungling is overpowered, right? Jungling is so strong. Let's start with Charizard. Again, very strong on this map. I don't think I can put it quite into S tier, but honestly, maybe. I mean, yeah, Charizard very strong, but I think A+ is a bit more fitting. Duraludon is very strong on this map as well. Again, I personally am surprised how high the win rate of this Pokemon still is. For me, so I think it's a solid 8 here. I think that's totally deserving. Greninja goes into A+ tier as well. Very strong Pokemon. Aegislash goes into A+ tier. We have Tyranitar. I think Tyranitar A tier is totally fine as well. But this Pokemon is just very... If it works, it's super broken. Sometimes it might not feel that great as well still. But Tyranitar is absolutely strong of a Pokemon. And yeah, very hard to deal with. Maybe it's deserving an A+ even as well. I'm just going to fill up this A+ tier like it's... You know, it's going to be crazy. Mew. I mean, this Pokemon is OP. Even in jungle, it works everywhere. And it just has to be nerfed. Glaceon. So Glaceon got an Icy Wind nerf indirectly by Blue Buff being nerfed. But I think you can still get the full crew reduction, and it just does so much damage, right? It just does absolutely crazy amounts of damage, and people still play it left and right. Might change, might turn it, like move it down to A+ tune to see if maybe other junglers have a better advantage over it now. But yeah, for now we can put it into S tier. Delphox is a very strong jungler as well. I think A tier is deserving as well. Flame Charge is good, Fire Spin is good. You can play both, but Flame Charge is very good in this current meta as well. Low mobility. Talonflame, very strong jungler on this patch. Perfectly fits the map. Absol as well. Goes into A+ tier for me. Serena goes into A+ tier. And now we see the issue that I think I'm gonna move some Pokemon down already, because it's gonna fill up a bit too much, and I think I truly have to have the best Pokemon up in A+ tier, which I think out of all these junglers are probably these Pokemon. Again, 8, like anything from B+ to S tier you can play in jungle and carry with. That's just how OP jungle is, alright? And nothing of these Pokemon, you know, are too weak. Cramorant, super strong. Venusaur, I'm gonna move down to B+ tier. Gengar, I think, to me, Gengar's S tier. When it comes especially to solo queue, of course, if you 5-man pre-made stack, it's a bit weaker, but Gengar's absolutely crazy. Gardevoir, also on this map, absolutely just don't really like at all, but I think it's still better than what I'm gonna put into C tier, which is Buzzwole. But yeah, so I think that's actually no. If I put Gardevoir here, I probably have to put Venusaur. Also there, Zeraora, I'm somehow not the biggest fan of. I don't know. To me, the Pokemon still doesn't feel like it does anything too amazing. It's alright, and I thought it's gonna be the perfect map for him. He gets level 9 much faster, but I'm still not too impressed, I have to say. Decidueye, I do think Decidueye is strong when it comes to maybe like 5-man pre-mates. I know someone like Adesu puts him, or you know, from non-esports, rate him pretty highly, but I think it has something to do with 5-man stacking being, you know, a bit of a different game where you have much more supporting. If your team consists of Gengar, Absol, Cramorant, and I don't know, is Lanes in the Ace, you don't want to play jungle Decidueye, I think, you know, it just always depends on what your team comp is looking like. If your team comp fits it, he's up here, and if it doesn't, it's down here, so difficult Pokemon to play very well on. I think Garchomp is pretty fine on this map, seems very good. Blastoise has fallen off by quite a lot. Dragonite, I think, still solid A tier. Mr. Mime is actually, I mean, this Pokemon is just broken. I'm just going to put it into A+ tier because this Pokemon is OP, doesn't matter where it's played. I probably maybe should also still put it into S tier. But yeah, I do think it's a wasted potential of putting this Pokemon to the jungle. But I think it's reasonable to like go jungling, get it to level 6, and then have like your Dodrio partner or something, take the jungle afterwards. Could totally be a reasonable thing. Sylveon is alright, nothing too crazy when it comes to jungling. We have Machamp, which I think is also quite fine jungler. Solid A in my opinion. Azumarill goes back into the B+ tier. And actually Cinderace, I'm going to put on the B+ tier. I don't like Cinderace on this map at all. I really don't. I think there's a lot of better junglers, and it does struggle quite a lot without a team. All these Pokemon are much more, you know, independent, and Cinderace does rely a bit more on your laners being strong as well. Espeon and B, and I think that might be it when it comes to junglers. I mean, I have Lucario right here, which I don't think is a good jungler on this map. I don't think it does anything too crazy. But yeah. So, that's it for the jungle tier list, and I think that is quite alright. I think rating junglers on their performance is quite difficult. Again, I think with any of those, jungling is just so overpowered that all these Pokemon can carry quite well. It doesn't matter if you know, play Azumarill or Venusaur or Gengar. All of them can win games if you're good enough. But of course, let's say if the enemy jungler is a Charizard and you are playing Buzzsaw and the enemy Charizard is as good as you, he should be able to win the game. That's pretty much how it is, right? But yeah, that's it for the tier list overall. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Always interesting to see what other opinions people have. And wait, I forgot Dodrio. I forgot Dodrio. Oh my god, I didn't find it down here. I forgot I have to drag it down here. We have Dodrio. Almost forgotten. Where do we put Dodrio in this? Again, I think this Pokemon has potential, but I still have to see it a bit more. So I think A. I mean, I have struggles winning on this Pokemon, but I think it might just be me that I haven't found the perfect build for this Pokemon yet. I just started playing Tri-Attack and Jump Kick like other players, and it felt much better after playing that. It's just still very hard to carry on, but I think this Pokemon shows a lot of potential. So, alright, that's the tier list. Let me know where you would put Dodrio. Am I putting it too high? Again, my win rate is... I mean, we can check our win rate, my Dodrio win rate together if you guys want, if it works right now. But this website sometimes takes a bit long to load. Yeah, I'm not doing good on Dodrio, but I'm also having very unlucky games when I play this Pokemon. You can see I had 3 losses in a row, and yeah. We had a game where I did 97, oh, you guys can't really see it right now too much. We had a game where we had 97,000 damage, and we still lost, so, you know, those things happen in solo queue. But yeah, let me know what you think about this tier list. Let's go back to right here. And I'm always curious to see your guys' opinion. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video. Bye!